Ricky Rogers once said, "Strength doesn't come from what you can do. It comes from overcoming the things you once thought you couldn't." What comes to your mind when you hear this quote? For me, I personally think of the journey that I've just embarked on these last several months being a senior project. Hello, my name is Meghan Morales, and for my senior project, I wanted to expand my knowledge and ability when it came to the health and fitness aspect of my life. In doing so, I also wanted to improve upon a full body transformation and my everyday nutrition. When thinking of how to accomplish all of these, I thought there's no better way to do so than to train for a race. But not just any race, a Spartan race. A Spartan race, for those of you that don't know, is an obstacle-style race, which has 3 different levels, each one increasing in difficulty, starting at the sprint, next the super, and then the beast. So when deciding of which one I wanted to train for, I used one of my big philosophies in life that came into play: go big or go home. So I chose to do the beast. The beast, for those who don't know, is a 13 to 14 mile long course, which consists of 30 plus obstacles, and if you fail an obstacle, you have a penalty of 30 burpees. Now, this all takes place on a rough mountainous terrain. But before I go on, I'd like to take you back in time to when my passion for health and fitness came about. 3 years ago, I was going through a rough time in my life, and to compensate for how I was feeling, I used food as a friend. And this led to a very unhealthy weight gain for me and an inactive lifestyle. But what sparked my transition out of this unhealthy period was my sudden desire to become a professional wrestler in the future. From that moment on, I became careful of what I was eating and very mindful of my workouts. Then 2 years ago, I first stepped into the very own weight room here at a very own high school. And this is where I first met my mentor. My mentor for my project was Coach Scarpula. Coach Scarpula is a physical education teacher down in the middle school and was a health teacher here for a bit of time in the high school. He attended Virginia Commonwealth University, and he also studied for physical and health education. I knew that he'd be the perfect fit because he also is the adult supervisor of the weight room. So I knew working on my project, I'd be able to see him on a daily basis. Now, looking back on my project, there were 3 main components: the training, the nutrition, and the race day itself. Training for me was a whole new experience. I had never trained for anything before, nor did I have a prior extensive experience with weightlifting. My goals for training was to train accordingly to the obstacles that I might come across in the race. So that was a lot of strength and endurance for me. This is where difficult times came into play because I didn't really know how to particularly train for these obstacles. Like I said, the bulk of my training was in the weight room, so I didn't have access to an extensive amount of equipment. So this is why my mentor really helped me out. I'm very appreciative of him doing this. He actually makeshifted a bunch of workouts for me. So one of the workouts that was really important for me is that he took a rope that we had in the weight room, tied kettlebells to the end of it, extended it across the weight room, and we called these the weighted rope pull. So I would just constantly pull the rope to me, and that really built up my upper body strength. Coming time to an obstacle that was actually a weighted sled that I had to pull to one point to another. Another workout that he makeshifted for me was actually rope pull-ups and pull-downs. I knew that going into the race, there were some obstacles that were really expensive with upper body and then involved ropes. So rather than climbing up the rope, I would just pull myself up and down. We used the same rope from the weighted rope pull and just harnessed it over a pull-up station. So that was really helpful when it came time to rope climbs and even the monkey bars. Alongside with obstacle targeted training, I learned how to properly squat with a bar harnessed over my, not harnessed, but sat on the back of my neck. And I also learned how to properly deadlift, which is a leg and glute targeted workout. In the beginning of my training, that was actually very difficult for me to learn because I actually hurt my back several times because I didn't have the proper form. But over time, I perfected it. Another one is actually box jumps. We have different level boxes in the weight room, and these really helped me when it came time to the walls in the race that I have to climb. I would learn how to use the momentum from my legs and jump up just to at least get to the top and then use the upper body strength for the rest of it. Especially with strength training came along endurance, and I specifically wanted to target running for me. I didn't really know if I was going to run full 13 miles or not, or run here or there, but I knew that I was going to be on a tricky terrain, so I really had to learn how to pace myself. I would spend 20 minutes running up and down the parking lot here, the hill, and the high school, just to get comfortable with running on different elevations. Back in November, I could only run 2 miles, and to really prepare myself mentally and physically, I ran a half marathon about a month before my race, just to make sure that I knew that I could do 13 miles if I had to. In doing all of my training I was sore almost every day. I came across bruises that I didn't know where they came from. I had a couple injuries in the beginning because I didn't have the right forms when I was doing workouts, but over time I learned how to perfect it. When I ran over, another part that for me was difficult in the training is that I actually learned that I have a medical problem in my feet. That when I would run for a while, I would actually get really painful shin splints, which is right here at the region of your leg, and at some points it would be almost numb and I'd have to stop training because I figured out that my feet overextend when I run. So I actually had to seek out specially made shoes and insoles, which were not cheap at all. Next, I had to move on to nutrition. Now, I had a pretty good diet for these last couple years getting into this new lifestyle of health, but I really wanted to take it to the whole other level for this project. I learned how to properly meal prep, which is when you, say on a Sunday night, you make out all your meals healthy, balance your carbs, your fats, your protein, and just have them ready throughout the week. I bought meal prep containers for that so I could eat them when I'm here at school. I also used a journal to track my everyday calories and learned how to balance them. Here is a journal, I'll pass it around. I also started taking multivitamins and started using a protein shake for the first time after workouts. But before all this was possible, I actually had a really difficult time dealing with nutrition. Like I said before, I was striving for a full body transformation and I went about it all the wrong way. I thought I had to restrict myself from eating things I loved, I wasn't eating enough. Meanwhile, I was training extensively, so my body really needed that nutrition and I just didn't know that. And I also wasn't eating correctly, so if I wasn't eating enough and when I did eat, it wasn't nutritious to my body at all. So really to fix that, I sought out help with two intelligent women that I'm really appreciative of my project. I sought out the help of the athletic trainer here, Sue, in our school, and she really helped me plan out meals and calculate my calories and protein intake according to the training I would do that day. And I also was fortunate to reach out to an elite women's competitor of a Spartan company. And we would email back and forth, and she would help me figure out the nutrition I would incorporate the weeks prior to my race. And she also has a degree in nutrition, so it was very helpful. I learned a lot from both those women, and I'm very thankful for them putting in time to help me for my project. I had countless hours of researching about foods and nutrition, and endless hours training 4 to 5 days a week, but all this preparation for a single day that would showcase who I've become. Now, I'm just going to play this video, and I'm going to walk you through the first minute of it. This right here is actually the deadlift I was talking about. My form is all wrong in the beginning. This is the first one I did. And this is a squat. My squat wasn't perfect. My knees were over my toes. Now this is the deadlift again. As time went on, I would increase my weight. And specifically for the deadlift, here's the weighted rope pull. That's the first time I did it. These are rope drills that really helped me build endurance with my breathing because I actually have asthma, so that was a really difficult part. This is the box jump I was talking about. I actually ran up and down bleachers, helped me with elevation as well. It was my running and training. Burpees, of course, because I didn't know if I was going to pass every obstacle or not. Here's a tire I decided to flip. But basically, yeah, for the deadlift itself in this video, it really shows how I've transformed it over time and really perfected it. This is a farmer's carry that helped me in an obstacle that I had 2 logs on each side that I had to carry. So doing that actually really helped. Those are different chest exercises. This is a squat that I did, that was 135. Bench press, I had a difficult time with that, but you know, when you fail, you always try again. And that's the deadlift I did recently, and I'm really proud of it that over time I was able to correct my form. Now, on to the most important thing, is the race day. April 30th, 2016 was when my inner beast was unleashed and ready to take her place as a Spartan. The morning of, I was very nervous, but I was also mostly excited. I wasn't nervous just to be a part of the race, but I was also nervous because I was doing it alone. And this is the first time in my life I really had to be strong by myself and rely on nobody but myself. So when I walked in and I saw the start line, I could also see the finish line. And the finish line consisted of a long row of burning wood that I would have to jump over. And in that moment I thought, what did I get myself into? The race took longer than expected, but 9 hours, 24 minutes and 38 seconds later, this shows true dedication and work that I put into it. Throughout the 9.5 hours, I came across obstacles that were 2 barbed wire walls, 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot walls. This took place on Mountain Creek, so it was I had different steep hills and mountains that were muddy and rocky. 2 different rope climbs, the sled pulls. An obstacle that really got to me was this bucket brigade, that I had to carry a bucket of gravel up a steep hill and around. And this was an important moment for me because at this point of the race, I was mentally, physically, and emotionally exhausted. And I just thought, I don't think I can do this anymore. So I leaned over and started crying, and I just really didn't know if I was gonna be able to finish. But a woman from the side saw me, and she said, "Remember what you're here for." So that really ignited a flame in me to keep going. And from that moment on, all I thought of was jumping over that fire and getting that medal. So when I got to that moment, it was 9.5 hours later. I dunked under a wall in the muddy water, came out, and saw that fire about 20 feet in front of me. And in that moment, I tried to take it in and realize what this moment was going to mean to me. I realized that this was it. I heard my family and friends cheering me on, and once I jumped over the fire and received that medal around my neck, I broke down crying. Those were the happiest tears that I've ever cried, and I really knew that I finally did it. Reflecting over this project, I knew I've grown as a person physically, mentally, and emotionally. In the beginning, people thought that I was biting off more than I could chew, and that I didn't have an athletic background, nor was I an athlete ever on a sports team here in the school. But I proved them wrong, and I became a champion. I only failed 4 of the 34 obstacles, and the course actually ended up being more than 14 miles. So through blood, sweat, and tears, I became the person I wanted to be through this project. I definitely foresee future races, and hopefully one day I'll actually compete in a Spartan race. I definitely see that my passion and love for health and fitness will continue. Thank you for your time.